It's impossible to know where to start when discussing Imam Tawhidi, aka the Imam of Peace, aka the Islamophobia industry's fake sheikh. I mean, nobody, including me, had ever heard of this character until he showed up on a tabloid news program in 2017 to claim, without a single shred of evidence, that Australia's Muslim population is secretly plotting to turn the country into an Islamic caliphate.
And a stark warning of a plan to alter Australia forever, to establish a caliphate here, right under our noses.
The agenda is to create a country within your country. That's what it is. It's to create another country or another government within the Australian government. That's what I believe is their agenda.
Tawhidi's modus operandi is obvious and hardly needs explaining. He presents himself as an insider who has inside knowledge on what Muslim populations around the world are secretly plotting. And then he tells Muslim haters exactly what they want to hear about Muslims in Palestine, India and the West, even when his claims are outrageous, self-evident lies and falsehoods.
Outlandish claims, Tawhidi has been built up by the media as a good Muslim, the acceptable face of Islam, making headlines for suggesting that halal certification threatens the Australian way of life, or for supporting Pauline Hanson's call for a ban on Muslim immigration, or for backing Ayaan Hirsi Ali's call to forcibly shut down all Muslim schools and colleges in Australia.
This has made him a darling of the Muslim-hating American far-right, Hindu nationalists, Israeli Zionists, Christian Zionists, and anybody else who profits or benefits from the persecution of Muslim populations. He's loved by those who incite violence against Muslims, including Tommy Robinson, Robert Spencer, and Sam Harris. But there's one very big problem. Everything about Imam Tawhidi is fake. 5 years ago, I, along with Australia's ABC News, conducted a series of investigations into Tawhidi. And what we found is startling. He's not an actual imam, and nor does he have an actual mosque or actual religious followers. In fact, the Australian National Imams Council has never heard of him. Our investigation also discovered that his claimed academic qualifications are fake. In fact, the university in Iran, where Tawhidi claimed to have obtained a bachelor and master's degree from, has repeatedly stated in writing that Tawhidi dropped out of college after only 1 year of study. But none of his revelations regarding his fraudulent behaviour has stopped him from finding love and affection among the Western far right, the genocidal Hindu nationalist movement, and the Israeli lobby. In India, where an actual Muslim genocide is now underway, Tawhidi tells Hindu nationalists that Kashmir is Hindu land, while mocking Pakistani and Indian Muslims for eating beef. But it's his work for the Israel lobby that really stands out. He claims Palestine doesn't exist, blames Palestinians for Israeli military raids on Al-Aqsa Mosque and aerial bombing campaigns on Gaza. He says Palestine is Jewish land. He claims Jerusalem is not a sacred site for Muslims. It's why he's treated like a rock star by the Israel lobby. Tawhidi also echoes Israeli propaganda by falsely stating Palestinian grievance with Israel is rooted in Islam, and not resistance to its foreign military occupation and colonial rule, while also pretending a significant portion of the Palestinian population isn't Christian.
Between the problem that Palestine has, the Palestinians have with Israel, is not about borders. It's about existence. This we need to realize. If Israel was a Christian state, if it was a communist state, if it was any other state other than a Jewish state, this hatred would not be the way it is.
Well, strap yourself in, folks, because I'm about to reveal why Imam Tawhidi says the things he says about Israel, Islam, and Muslims. This program has obtained information that suggests the fake Imam has close ties to current and former Israeli intelligence officials. First, here's an email that was leaked to me recently. It allegedly shows correspondence sent from former Canadian ambassador to Israel, Vivian Berkovici, to Tawhidi on January 14 of this year. And in the interest of transparency, I have since communicated directly with Ms. Berkovici, but despite multiple requests for comment on the email or other texts I have sent her, she has declined. With that out of the way, her alleged email to Tawhidi says, and I quote, "It has been some time since we had direct contact. If I'm not mistaken, our last communication was in June 2020, when you wrote to me on Signal asking me to pass along information to Israeli officials regarding an Iraqi gentleman who had landed or was about to land in a London area airport in a private jet. You stated that this person had significant assets and would likely pay to keep things quiet. You further indicated Israeli intelligence would find this development of interest." End quote. She's basically summarizing an effort by Tawhidi to encourage Israeli officials to detain and extort an Iraqi businessman on his behalf. I mean, what the actual hell? But then Berkovici summarizes how her relationship with Tawhidi has since soured. And from here it gets really weird, or becomes what appears to be a thinly veiled threat to counter-extort Tawhidi, warning him that she has kept screenshots of their previous communications as evidence that could potentially be used against him. Berkovici then points to specific incidents that might embarrass Tawhidi should said incidents become public, saying, and I quote, "It was great meeting with you in Tel Aviv when you visited Israel secretly a few years ago. How time flies. It was early in the evening, yet for Bohemian Central in Tel Aviv to wake up. I'm sure that the shisha spots you moved on to later that evening in Jaffa were livelier." End quote. Her mention of Jaffa is significant because Jaffa is a known hotspot for drugs and prostitution. Berkovici then writes, and I quote, "Thanks again for introducing me to the 2 young women in Tel Aviv who are running your secret back office, managing emails and other matters for you." End quote. Wait, let's go over that again. She says that young women are running Tawhidi's operations in Israel from a secret back office in Tel Aviv. I mean, you can make of that what you will. But what we do know about Berkovici is this. She worked for the notorious Israeli intelligence firm Black Cube. The firm, which was started by former Mossad operatives, made international headlines in 2017 when it was revealed that Hollywood film executive Harvey Weinstein hired Black Cube to dig up dirt on the women accusing him of rape and sexual assault. Here's one of Black Cube's former clients speaking to Australia's 60 Minutes.
Is it fair to say Black Cube operated like a military operation?
It is fair to say that. I think that the way that Black Cube is set up, it mirrors the experiences that the founders had in Israeli intelligence, but the same in intelligence and military system, apparatus across the world.
It's not beat around the bush, Black Cube. It's run by some pretty hard bastards.
It certainly is. I wouldn't want to be on the wrong side of them, but luckily, well, hopefully I'm not. So.
According to CBC News, one of the messages Berkovici sent a potential Black Cube client in 2019 says she can provide a wide range of services, including undercover surveillance, finding hidden information about third parties' personal lives, and tracing bank accounts and assets. In other words, Berkovici was part of an Israeli government-backed extortion racket. Now here's where things get even murkier between Berkovici and Tawhidi. This program has also obtained text messages that allegedly show Tawhidi telling Berkovici in September 2019 that he's working on behalf of Emirati Princess Hind Al-Qassami, whose son remains in custody of her former husband, Qatari Prince Al Thani. Many of you will know the princess by her Twitter account, Lady Velvet. Berkovici tells Tawhidi she's working for Black Cube, and then she will send him a link to which he replies, "We already got one," presumably meaning that either he or the princess has secured the services of an intelligence gathering firm similar to Black Cube. Now, in another text message attained by this program, Tawhidi appears to be involved in a conspiracy against the government of Qatar. I've reached out to Tawhidi for comment, but to date he has declined my request. In a text he sent to the Emirati princess on an unknown date, Tawhidi writes, and I quote, "I have been making a few phone calls, exploring how we would gain you some leverage with the Qataris," end quote. He then goes on to say, and I quote, "There are some brilliant organizations that we could turn to for information. They will literally dig up anything about literally anyone. These become a shield of safety for you and your son," end quote. Tawhidi then offers suggestions for the kind of dirt she could use against the Qatari government, saying, and I quote, "You know them well. I need you to think of something that, if you possessed, would cause them headaches. In return, they would let you and your son go," end quote. So there you have it. If these communications are indeed true, not only is Tawhidi a fake imam with zero religious and academic credentials, but also is working with the intelligence officials of foreign countries to advance the interests of anti-Muslim regimes, including Israel and India, while also conspiring against individuals and governments in what can only be described as an international extortion racket. Thankfully, however, the Muslim world hasn't been fooled, particularly those who know him best in Australia.
Within seconds, Imam Tawhidi's first visit to the Muslim heartland of Western Sydney was met with abuse.
Thank you.
What does that mean?
It means may God curse you, you pig, you dog.
Therefore, media organisations around the world have a responsibility to heed this advice.
Now, we're not saying Tawhidi has no right to his opinions, but the media really should not be giving him a megaphone. Nor should they be presenting him as a voice of reason and the Imam of peace, when it's clear that some of his views are divisive, offensive, abusive,